Are you ready to tune up your game? A consistent theme you're going to discover is called ready, read, and respond. This is going to be for all your strokes, your ground strokes, your serves, your volleys, your drop shots, your overheads. And we start off with a law of intent. And the law of intent is very important. It's what do I intend to do with this shot? And then through deliberate practice, we're going to show you ways that you can practice these skills on all your strokes until your response to these become automatic. So what is this ready, read, response? Well, ready is my preparation to receive the ball. In sports, there's two skills you really have. You either send the ball or you receive the ball. And in this case, we're addressing receiving. So how do I receive a ground stroke? Or how do I receive a serve? Or how do I receive a volley? The ready position then is a position of athleticism, where I'm in a position to be ready to attack, to spring to the ball. So I'm ready. As soon as I see the ball coming, I begin to read the speed of the ball, the direction it's coming. And then I start to choose a response to that. Where do I want to send the ball? And you're going to discover we have targets for you. The targets help you become more deliberate with your intent for the shot. So in the ready, read, response, we get you ready to read and teach you how to read the ball that's coming, and then choose an appropriate response that's tactically sound, so when you play, you have lots of confidence and it's automatic. Our ready, read, and respond theme is consistent in all sports. For example, in baseball, when the pitcher gets ready to prepare to send the ball, he looks into the catcher and he sees the signal. He's ready now. He's ready to receive the signal. Then he goes into a read position where he reads where he's going to throw, what's the player, where the player's located, where do I want to throw the ball. He's reading what's going to happen. Then from there he responds by making his move toward his intended target. Remember the law of intent? The catcher gave him a speed and a kind of ball to throw, and he gave him a target to. So he has an intended target. That gives him confidence. And of course, through deliberate practice, he's got it down where he can do this automatic again. Another sport in which you see our theme demonstrated is in football. The quarterback, he's ready. He goes under the center to receive the ball. He receives the ball and immediately goes into where? A ready position. And from here, he's reading from his ready position what he's going to do. And then finally, he'll make a response, whether it's a deep pass or a short pass like that. So being consistent again with your ready, read, respond, it's on all sports. And we're just going to show you again how it applies to tennis as we do it next. We like to consider ourselves as athletes. Now, we're athletic tennis players, just like the athletic football player and the athletic baseball player. So the consistency comes in again. I'm ready in tennis to read what's going to happen. I'm in an athletic position. I'm ready to read. And then as soon as I see something happening, I've prepared, I'm ready, I begin to go into a read position. Now, how is this read position consistent with what we saw in baseball and football? Both hands are on the racket. There's a rotation of the upper body by turning the feet. Not necessarily upper body rotation, but actually moving of the feet to rotate. Because now I can read how fast the ball's coming, if I'm going to choose to chip the shot, or if I'm going to choose to rip the shot, how big of a backswing I need to go. So I'm ready, I go into a read position, and then I make the response to my intended target based on the ball I'm receiving and how I'd like to send it away. Let's take a more in-depth look at each one of the strokes and find out how that looks. So let's see how the ready, read, response works on a serve. So my first goal is I choose a target. That's my law of intent. I want the ball to go to my opponent's backhand or their forehand or into their body. Once I've chosen the target, I'm now ready. I bounce the ball several times to relax so I can perform the skill I want to do. As I come back up, I read to make sure the player's ready. And then I read by looking up where I'm going to throw the ball. So I read that they're ready. My eyes go up to read where I'm going to throw the ball. And then I make my response, actually directing the ball toward my intended target. Looks something like this. Got my target, bounce the ball to quiet my mind. I'm ready, they're ready. I look up to toss, I read, and then I do my response to the shot, followed by a preparation for the next ball. Let's take a look at some consistent themes in the forehand. We said our first position was to be ready, so I could respond to what's going to happen. I'm ready. And guess what? It happens to be like the other positions we assume in sports. Like if I'm playing defense in basketball, I'm in a ready position. So would you call this a ready position or this a ready position? Too often we see players standing up to start instead of being in an athletic position where they can move quickly from side to side. So I'm ready, and I go to a read position. The players now hit the ball, I go to read. From read, it's very important here that something happened. It has to do with my grip. It's called grip tension. When I throw a baseball, I can't grip the ball tight when I throw. When you watch the pitcher throw, he's always loosening up his arm. He's trying to keep his arm very relaxed. When you get ready to throw a football, I guarantee the quarterback, Drew Brees, is not gripping the ball super tight to throw. And by the same token, my grip tension becomes very important on my ground stroke. As I go into my read position, my grip's quite loose. And if you watch your videos, you can see the players, they turn, actually adjust their grip. You'll see the fingers moving on the grip because they don't have grip tension yet. They want to keep it relaxed so they can respond appropriately. So I'm ready, I read, and I get ready to respond to the shot, executing my shot. Once again, recovery, back to a ready position so I can read the next ball. So continue with our theme of athleticism in tennis. My first position is to get that ready position where I'm ready to start to see what's going to happen. My next move is to read. And we're going to talk about an important part of our reading is with our non-dominant hand. On our forehand side, it was a very critical part. In our baseball throw, our football throw, and our tennis preparation, what did the non-dominant hand do? It's connected to the object we're going to throw. It creates a balance and a position of our body to execute how we're going to perform the shot. Very much like that on the backhand side. One of the critical factors on your backhand is your grip. And grips are always a challenge for players because they forget to use their non-dominant hand. Moving to the left, they have a tendency to have a very tight grip with their right hand, which means I'm not going to change grips. So the non-dominant theme on the backhand is that I have my left hand setting the racket up for me, which allows me to adjust my grip to get to the ball I'm going to respond with, whether I'm hitting a heavy topspin or a slice or a two-handed backhand. So I'm in my position to read. My next move is to get the appropriate grip I want, my non-dominant hand creating the balance for me. I move to the ball to make the response that I want, and then quickly recover so I'm ready to respond to the next move. Lobbing is a critical component of the game, and a lot of times I'm lobbing in response to a shot where my opponent's playing an overhead smash at me, or they're running a ball down and they're going to lob back to me, and I'm prepared to lob back. So it's important that I read what the situation is by getting into a position where I can move quickly to the ball. My grip tension is extremely important here, that I stay relaxed so I can respond correctly. But even more importantly is choosing the right response or my intent. Usually when I'm lobbing, I'm attempting to hit the ball with a lot of height or trajectory so I can buy time and get back in the point. And also my intent has to be what direction do I want to play the ball, preferably to their backhand side and with a lot of height. So my execution and my read position as to how I'm going to respond is different for the lob than a lot of the other shots. Grip tension is extremely important, but most importantly is what's my intent for the lob? Am I playing offense or defense? So what about the overhead? You know, one of the favorite things we do is called the smash. It's the same thing. I need to be ready to see what's going to happen. And all of a sudden I see that the ball's gone up, but my preparation actually is in segments. A quarterback doesn't start with his arm back here, and a tennis player doesn't start with his hands up here. His first move is to read the ball from our normal read position again, like we always start off with. As I read what the ball is going to be and where it's going to be, as I get my position, now I begin to respond, and that's when the shoulders drop. Just like when the quarterback goes back to throw, he starts with his hands up by his face in his read position. Then he gets ready to respond. That's when you see the shoulders separate, the angle of the shoulders increase, just like our overhead. So from the side, it looks like this. I'm ready, I read the lob coming up, and then as I start to respond, that's when you see the shoulders prepare correctly. But it's in segments, not going to the endings part first, saving that at the best for last. So each of the shots we're addressing has a little unique factor about it that separates it from all the others. The volley is kind of critical in that it has a double read, meaning my first read is how I position my feet so I can move to the ball. And it looks like this. So as we know it, it's called a split step. I move in, I see my opponent about to strike the ball. He starts to swing. I do a split step to read the direction the ball is going to move. Once I've read the direction of the ball, now I begin to read with my hands how to position my racket so I can respond to the shot appropriately. Then I'll go back to my read position again, just in case he gets the ball back. But volleys require double read, one with the feet to adjust your legs to go the direction of the shot, and secondly with the hands to set those up to get the intended direction you want the ball to go. One of my favorite shots is the drop shot, and it's called the devious shot because my opponent's going to be reading me and I'm going to sell him a false image. So I'm ready to respond to the shot, I'm reading what he's doing, and I read that he's hit a short ball. So I move up with my preparation into my read position, my hands are up Just like the quarterback, like the baseball player in our all sports read position, as I approach the ball, I'm selling him the idea that I'm going to drive this ball through your court for a winner. But just when I get there, I trick him, soften my hands, and that's a devious shot. We're going to show you how to get ready to read, react, and respond correctly to sell the disguise. As you tune up your game, we've been consistent with our theme of ready, read, and respond. Is there more work to do? You bet. As a famous football coach, Vince Lombardi, said, "Practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect." In our Tune Up the Game course, we've given you all the tools you need to practice perfectly.